talking is over. After weeks and months and years of the dissing of WWE creative and the comment section, Savage, you would do better. Savage, you should work for WWE. Savage, you should write the script for WWE. Savage, they should just give you a job. And I said, you're right, they should. I'm amazing. My creativity is on power level 9,000. And now it has come to the time. WWE, Savage, how I would book Cesaro. Let's go. Now, some of it might sound a bit wild, but bear in mind, it's not based on real life. It's just how WWE could do it. So, we're starting off with Talking Smack, and it's the Talking Smack prior to the Royal Rumble. So we're talking about January Talking Smack. Now this Talking Smack actually happened with Cesaro. He had came on, he spoke to Paul. It was one where people started to edge more towards make Cesaro a champion, give Cesaro a chance. He's in the comment section, started lighting up. Everyone in the chat started saying Cesaro needs a push. Now, Cesaro comes on, he speaks from the heart to Paul Heyman. Obviously, Paul Heyman is the host of the show with Caleb Braxton. He is also the advocate, the counsel to the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. So Cesaro speaks from the heart. He goes, he talks, and basically Paul puts him in his place and says, listen to me. You talk too much, yeah? You've made loads and loads of excuses, but let's be honest, you're a tag team wrestler and you can't get anything done on your own. Cesaro carries on speaking, he's cutting one of the greatest promos ever cut, he's doing great, and then Brian comes on the show early. So he was the next guest, but he comes and cuts his show off, and Cesaro does what Cesaro does. He's very polite about it, just like he was on the previous SmackDown. And Brian takes me, it's a bit disrespectful, but but what Cesaro does tell Paul within that conversation is what he said on the Talks About, which is, I'm going to win the Royal Rumble and I'm going to go on to WrestleMania and I will be the tribal chief. We go on from there, we follow on, we go on to the next week's SmackDown. Now, bear in mind, the whole thing is excuses. This is what we're going down. Every story has to have something in it, it has to have a motive, it has to have a certain je ne sais quoi, it has to have something in there, and it has to have some price. So we're going to go through that. Go on to SmackDown. Now, on SmackDown the following week, we go on, and basically what's happening here is, it's the SmackDown where Daniel Bryan is about to have a match to see what place in the Royal Rumble he will be. Will he be number 1? Will he be number 30? That's how it's going to go. So, basically, if Daniel Bryan wins, he gets to come in at number 30, and if he loses, he's in at number 1, or he is starting early. He just needs to make it to the match. Early that night, we see from the backstage interview, we see that we see Roman's office, and we see Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin walking out, shaking Paul's hand. They leave. Caleb Braxton tries to get an interview with them. Baron laughs, and they walk off. We go to Further in the night where Daniel Bryan's having his interview just before the match. It's about 10 minutes before a current match going on, and he's attacked backstage by Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. They are beating him up, they are kicking the hell out of him. Clearly, Roman does not want Daniel Bryan to make it to this match, because if he does make it this one-on-one match, where he was going to fight Sami Zayn and wins, he will be in at number 30, which is bad news for Roman Reigns. So they beat him up very bad, so he can't make it to the match. Cesaro comes to the rescue. It's a little bit late. He tries to fight them off a little bit. Doesn't really work. He covers Daniel Bryan like a friend, like he's covering a grenade. And then the referees come. Adam Pearce comes to pull him off and stuff like that. They realise Daniel Bryan cannot make it to tonight's match, so the match does not go ahead. Daniel Bryan does not get a chance to be in at number 30. So that's the end of that. It's SmackDown. The copyright thing comes up and stuff like that. They cancel the match, go on to something else. We move on to another SmackDown where Cesaro is there. He comes out on the mic, he's not happy about what's happened. He said he'll take anybody on. Paul Heyman says to him, Cesaro, how about you take the chance what Bryan had? Let's see if you can do it. Because we all know, on your own, you can't make anything happen. So, Cesaro is putting a match against Sami Zayn on this following SmackDown. And the same thing, if he wins this match, he gets to go in at the Royal Rumble at number 30 to give him the best chance of winning the Royal Rumble. But if he loses this match, he goes in the Royal Rumble at number 1. So, as you can imagine, what's coming up now? They have the one-on-one match. Sami Zayn versus Cesaro. They're going back and forth. They're outside the ring. They're tossing and fighting. Sami Zayn's giving him the haluva kicks outside the ring. He tries to roll Cesaro back in. Then, out of nowhere, Jey Uso comes out and gives Sami Zayn a super kick, disqualifying Cesaro from the match and making him lose the match, which means he has to enter the Royal Rumble at number 1. Once that's happened, Jey continues to put the beating on Cesaro. Baron Corbin comes out, puts the beating on Cesaro. Daniel Bryan is in attendance but can't wrestle and does not come to the ring to help Cesaro. No one knows why, but that's it. And bear in mind, this is the SmackDown before Royal Rumble, so tensions are starting to heat up a little bit. You know what I mean? So Corbin and Sami Zayn and Jey put the hurt on Daniel Bryan and Cesaro the last few weeks a little bit too much. And I don't know if Cesaro is testing the loyalty of Daniel Bryan right now because he's not come to help him for anything. But Cesaro has remained loyal all the way through. We go on to the Royal Rumble. Now I've gone into a little bit detail on this, so we go on to the Royal Rumble match. Cesaro starts at number 1 because he has to. Now, what's about to happen is great. Now, I know a lot of people will say this is a bit mad that Cesaro has eliminated so many people, but what we're doing is we're building a massive story here. Cesaro eliminates 16 superstars throughout this match. Big guys, Braun Strowman, Dijakovic, Madine, Keith Lee is eliminating big guys. He eliminates Baron Corbin from the match. He eliminates these guys, and it's looking like this is Cesaro's night. It's going to be the greatest Royal Rumble show we've seen. Cesaro is killing everyone. Cesaro makes it to the Final 4. The Final 4 is Sheamus, Daniel Bryan, Edge, and Cesaro. They're all men are in their 4 corners of the ring. They're all looking at each other. Everyone's out of breath. You know what I mean? You know how it goes. You play 2K. You know how you get the little cutscene with the 4 men. They all start looking at each other in the corner, and then they go at it. They start fighting. Bryan starts to fight Sheamus. Edge starts to fight Cesaro. The men are going at it. They're beating each other up. It's proper Royal Rumble settings. We don't know what's going to happen here. Everyone is clueless to who is going to win this match because so far Cesaro has been the star of the show, but right now he's in there with some absolute beastie characters. Bryan goes to hit the running knee on Sheamus. Sheamus moves out the way. Cesaro is hit with the running knee, takes him down. He rolls under the rope. Underneath the rope, by the way, so he's not out of the Royal Rumble yet. The guys continue fighting. Daniel Bryan's hand on head. He doesn't know what's happened. He didn't mean to hit Cesaro, even though he is every man for himself. They have a friendship. They continue to rumble. Cesaro rolls back into the ring. Obviously, he's all staggered, sitting up in the corner, and he's sitting there. Sheamus grabs the hand of Cesaro, helps him to his feet. They glance at each other. They look across the ring. Then, for this one night, the bar, and they both go at Daniel Bryan and Edge. They're hammering, double teaming. Cesaro and Sheamus are in cahoots together. They're going at it because, as far as Cesaro knows, Daniel Bryan meant to hit him with that running knee. Once they've got Edge and Daniel Bryan are down, Cesaro turns and boom! Bro kick from Sheamus. There ain't no bar. Cesaro flies over the rope, holding on by one arm, and 1 foot has touched the floor. 1 foot of Cesaro has touched the floor. So you can imagine that this is a feat of strength. Now, any other character, you'd be saying this isn't realistic. Cesaro is possibly pound for pound the strongest man in the WWE. So he can hold himself on by 1 rope. Now, don't let the story fool you that it's a long time period between this. This is the last 4. We're coming towards the pinnacle, the end of the Royal Rumble. So Cesaro is holding on by 1. Sheamus turns around, is hit with the running knee over the rope. Sheamus is eliminated from this match. Daniel Bryan starts to hit the yes chants, is hitting them, turns around, tossed out the ring by Edge over the rope. Edge wins the Royal Rumble, or so he thinks. So he thinks he's celebrated, he's giving it the, you think you know me. Edge thinks he's won the match. He hasn't won the match. On the apron, Cesaro, 1 arm, bicep pumping, is pulling himself up while Edge is celebrating and pointing to the WrestleMania sign. Edge turns, realizes Cesaro is pulling himself up, and out of nowhere, someone who was eliminated earlier in the 16 people that were eliminated, Jey Uso, comes back. He hits Cesaro with a super kick to the jaw. Cesaro releases the rope, hits the floor, Cesaro loses, and Edge wins the Royal Rumble and goes on from there to choose Drew McIntyre for his WrestleMania opponent. That's the end of the Royal Rumble. Cesaro is eliminated. We go on from there. Obviously, we have a few SmackDowns in between, but we're moving. We're going on to the next pay-per-view, which is the Elimination Chamber. The men that are in this Elimination Chamber match, we have Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, Kofi Kingston, Jey Uso, and Kevin Owens. Why those guys? They're all men from SmackDown. The winner obviously is going to go on to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Now, bear in mind, just keep in mind the excuses what I told you. No excuses, they're going at it. So, games get on. I'm not going to go through who eliminates who in this match too much because it doesn't really matter if Kofi eliminates Kevin Owens or anything like that. That's not much to do with the Cesaro story. Yeah? So, what we'll say is, men are eliminated in this match. We are left in this match with Jey Uso, Daniel Bryan, and Cesaro. All the men are going at it. Cesaro is bleeding from the onslaught he took earlier in the fight from Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. His head's been smashed into the cage of the Elimination Chamber numerous times. So obviously WWE want to be funny with the blood, but when it's live, they can't really do touch around. They can't turn it black and white. So we're going with blood. We need to add more. We need to make Cesaro seem even more desperate, because at this point he's doing everything he can to get a title shot and he's falling short. But sometimes it's not down to him, but he's trying to make no excuses and just go for it. Okay. So the match concludes with Jey Uso going to hit Bryan with a splash, with an Uso crazy splash. On the way down, just like an arcade out of nowhere, Jey goes for the splash. Cesaro, bam, European uppercut, takes the jaw of Jey Uso, pins, 1, 2, 3. Jey Uso is eliminated from the match. The two people who are left, Daniel Bryan and Cesaro. Why are these two guys left? It's gotta be fate. The guys that have been looking after each other weeks after week, who were friends, but Daniel Bryan did leave him when he was getting ambushed earlier on SmackDown a few weeks before. We go on from there. Cesaro helps Daniel Bryan to his feet. They shake hands, fist bump, go back to their corners, get a breather, and they go one-on-one at the end of this Elimination Chamber. Just respect. Wrestling respect. They go at it one-on-one. They're giving it their best shots. Daniel Bryan's hitting him with a few heel hooks and the battle locks, and he's going all this submission surfboard and that. And Cesaro's hitting him with Boston crabs and sharpshooters. They're going back and forth. They're going back and forth. This is 8 solid minutes of hardcore wrestling between these two guys. Now, obviously, these two are some of the most talented wrestlers in the world, so you can imagine how they went back and forth, different combinations and such. Daniel Bryan starts to get the upper hand in this match, and then Daniel goes into the yes kicks. Yes! 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 Oh! On the 4th one, Cesaro grabs the leg of Daniel Bryan. He grabs the leg of Daniel Bryan, pulls him down, hits him with the Cesaro spin for the count of 30. On the last one, 29, 30, he doesn't release him, he flips him up into a neutralizer, bang, hits a neutralizer on Daniel Bryan. 1, 2, 3, the Elimination Chamber is over. Daniel Bryan loses. Cesaro is going to WrestleMania. The celebrations start. Once Cesaro's got his breath back, he grabs Daniel Bryan up. They hug. The ref raises one of Cesaro's hands. Daniel raises the other. Cesaro is going to WrestleMania. Backstage, the people who are watching the screen, New Day and these kind of people, Apollo, Big E, they're all celebrating. They're all cheering. Cesaro finally, after all this time, is getting his title shot. So, we're going from there. We're going to speak through the next couple of SmackDown and stuff like that, because they're not that important, but I will say what happened on each one. So, we're going for the first week of SmackDown. We get a contract signing. Roman Reigns is that incensed that Cesaro won the match. He's not acknowledging him as a winner. He doesn't respect him at all. He never wanted to fight him in the first place. So the contract signing, he doesn't turn up. Cesaro turns up on his own. He feels disrespected. Paul takes the contract backstage, gives it to Roman. Roman signs it. The following week, we're supposed to get a sit-down interview between the two with Michael Cole. Roman doesn't turn up again. Cesaro is left there. We didn't even get a video link. And then Jey Uso sits with Cesaro on this Michael Cole interview with a script from Roman. So every time Cesaro says something that has a question, Jey just reads from the script what Roman would have said. Once again, disrespecting Cesaro. Now while all this is going on, Cesaro is becoming more and more agitated and irritated at the fact that he's earned his right fair and square to be at WrestleMania against Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, and he's being disrespected once again. We go on to the next one, another SmackDown. Cesaro comes out. His best promo yet, from the heart, no script, no funny business, not trying to be smart, he just cuts a promo, letting people know how much he has come up through the indies, how he's bided his time, how he's put other people before him, how all of his tag team partners, he always put them first to make them become a champion. Paul Heyman comes out, grabs the microphone, stands on top of the ramp, and pretty much just tells Cesaro what he did already on Talking Smack prior, that you cannot make it on your own. Speaking about how he's only been relevant in the WWE when he's had a tag team partner. He speaks about him tagging with Tyson Kidd, speaks about him tagging with Nakamura, speaks about him tagging with Sheamus. And he just says, listen, I respect you 100%, Cesaro. You know I do. You know the text messages I sent you years ago and the phone calls I've made and the coffees we've sat down and spoke about how we can change your career, but sadly, you're just not good enough. Obviously, Cesaro starts to look disappointed. We go into the final week, and I think this is the week before WrestleMania, we'll probably call it that. Paul comes out and tells Cesaro that if he can win a handicap match, he may choose the stipulation for the WrestleMania match. Now, we know that the handicap match is picked is a ploy to get Cesaro weakened and beaten down before they go on to WrestleMania. So when Roman faces him, he'll be facing someone who's not very strong, who's a little bit weak. So the match is between Cesaro, Sami Zayn, Corbin, so it's 2-on-1. It's a 2-on-1 handicap match. Sami Zayn is called into the office to take an important call regarding his documentary. The person who calls him says that it's from Logan Paul. Into the office, and then he is locked in to the janitor room. KO removes the sticker, it says janitor room and there. He locks him in, and Sami Zayn is away. Obviously, he's gonna see it as a conspiracy, but it's KO trying to help Cesaro out. Because, as I said, the talent backstage are all rooting for Cesaro now. He's biding his time. The next person is Corbin, who's supposed to be in the match. He's getting ready in the changing room and stuff like that. R-Truth has a 24/7 title and is obviously using it on both brands. He's running through. He wants a disguise to be on SmackDown. So he believes that this King disguise is just a regular disguise. He takes it, which means that when Corbin comes out the shower, he's got no clothes to wear. He cannot make it to the ring on time. Now, they're waiting for him to come to the ring. Cesaro makes it there, and then Adam Pearce comes out and says, listen, if Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn can't make it to the ring within the next 20 seconds, Cesaro will be awarded the win of this match. Obviously, they don't make it because Sami Zayn's locked up and Corbin has no clothes. It gets down to the final 2 seconds, Corbin comes out, the towel trips over, and they blur him out, you know what I mean? But he's running around like a naked king. Cesaro wins the match. Now, bear in mind that when Paul came out and made this announcement to Cesaro saying he could win the triple threat match, this was not authorized by a Tribal Chief. So Roman is not happy about this at all. He's backstage watching it on the TV screen. Jey Uso comes out, says, listen, what Paul forgot to tell you was I was a part of the handicap match. So, it's merely one-on-one. So that's how they finish SmackDown. They go through the final finish. Cesaro picks up the victory on main event Jey. This is very believable because we know that Jey, every time he tries to help Roman, he helps weaken the person, but he always loses the match. So as you can see, Roman once again is not happy about this one bit. Cesaro wins the match, one-on-one with Jey Uso, grabs the microphone and says, at Mania, Roman Reigns, I want you in a 2 out of 3 falls match at WrestleMania. And Jey Uso is banned from ringside. If Jey turns up at all, he counts as one of the falls for Roman if he gets involved in the match. So That means Roman will lose a fall, Cesaro will gain it. The camera pans back to Roman backstage with Paul, and he's grabbing Paul by his tie, and he's saying, I didn't tie to do this. I didn't authorize this. I'm the chief. I don't ever want to see you again. I don't want to see you face. Go home. And he pushes Paul out of the way. Paul was visibly shaken up, scared. Talking smack the day after, Paul he looks visibly stressed, and he speaks about how he's been trying to get in contact with Roman all night for the last 24 hours. He's been texting and calling him, and Roman will not return his call. Cesaro comes on as the final guest of Talking Smack, elated that he's going to have himself a championship match, and he can't believe it, and he's very excited. Paul once again says how much he respects Cesaro, and just doesn't believe he'll be able to get it done on his own, and that his tribal chief will destroy him. Cesaro laughs and says, the tribal chief isn't even the chief at the moment. He won't even return your calls. Cesaro says, listen Paul, I respect everything you do. I think you're great at what you do. But at WrestleMania, your tribal chief will for sure lose that Universal title. And he shakes the hand of Paul. Mania match. We get into the match. Roman straight away grabs a steel chair and hits Cesaro with 10 chair shots all over his body. As Cesaro starts to get back to his feelings in the corner and is visibly beaten down, the ref says, Cesaro, are you sure you want to continue now? He's like, yes. The bell rings. Bow! Spear. 1, 2, 3. Roman tries to lock a guillotine on Cesaro, and he's holding him there pretty tight. Cesaro will tap. He slowly seems to be fading. And what he does, using the power of his quads just about, he pulls over, which means while Roman's pulling back, Roman's shoulders are on the mat. 1, 2, 3, Cesaro picks up a fall, almost accidentally, because he wasn't trying to do that, he was trying to get out of the guillotine, and we have 1-1. It's becoming more and more chaotic. There's only 1 fall left in this match. The match is equally poised at this moment. Roman hits Cesaro with multiple uppercuts, using Cesaro's own moves on him in the corner, constantly screaming at Cesaro, saying, you can't beat me. You can't beat me alone. You need people. You haven't got your tag team partners with you. Where's Sheamus, huh? Hits him. Where's Daniel, huh? Hits him. Roman hits a spear on Cesaro. Cesaro falls back into the referee. The referee is knocked out. From there, obviously the ref's down, so you know what's gonna happen. Jey Uso comes out through the Thunderdome crowd. He comes in, steel chair. As he grabs the steel chair to get into the ring, Paul grabs the back of the chair of Jey Uso, says, listen, no, you can't do this. If you get involved in this match, Roman will lose. Put it down. Jay's like, the ref's down. I can do it. He's like, no. Roman grabs the chair and throws Paul into the barricade and says, what are you doing? Once again, I didn't authorize you to do this. Jey Uso, after trying to help Roman out, jumps back into the crowd, because obviously he knows once the ref gets to his feet, if he sees him at ringside, Roman's going to lose that point. So Jey scurries backstage, obviously hoping that Roman will be able to use that chair to his advantage. Roman goes to hit Cesaro with a chair shot to the forehead. Cesaro reverses, throws Roman into the ropes with an Irish whip, and up on the barricade is Paul Heyman, and he pokes Roman into the eyes, blinding him for a few seconds. Turns around, Cesaro hits Roman with a spear. Boom! 1, 2, 3. Cesaro becomes your new Universal Champion. He's elated. Cesaro himself didn't cheat, but he's very, very happy. He's the new Universal Champion. Paul looks at Roman and looks at Cesaro and crawls to the feet of Cesaro and starts bowing to Cesaro, saying, I helped you, I did it. Cesaro pulls Paul up by the tie, grabs the microphone, and says, you're right, Paul, I couldn't do it on my own. And then throws him back down and walks off. Fireworks go off at the top of the ramp. Cesaro, your new Universal Champion in WWE. Thank me later. That's how you do it. You know them way there. Comment, like, subscribe, and share. It's been a long video, but you know, it's what it is. You want the details, give me the details. You know them way there.